All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So we'll take a look at the sector, looking at tilray, CGC, MSOS, SNDL, and HITI. That should be the five we're gonna do today. So there's really three main things in my head for the opening thoughts. Okay, so the first thing we talked about was SNDL and high tide looked like the nicer charts, and a little bit of that really showed over the last week, right? I definitely was expecting them both to do more. I'm not pretending I wasn't wrong there, and I'm going to go over why I like what I was wrong about and why I was wrong about it. But yeah, both of these at least didn't lose that 8 and the 20. It just didn't do as strong a bounce as I was hoping for, right? From there, Tilray, as we look at it here, we're now below the 8 and the 20. We haven't confirmed it yet, and that's going to be a big thing of, that we're going to focus on, but we're definitely below the lines, right? This one, again, same thing. We're definitely below the lines, haven't really confirmed them, and the good thing we talked about was there were some lower indicators, or some lower moving averages to really like stop anything if it did come, right? And then even MSOS, we're definitely below the lines, and this is definitely the ugliest of the three of them, and I'll talk about that, but I in some ways like the fact that the stronger ones did do better than these ones, but I think overall, and then this is the thing that bothers me the most, the Dow Jones had a really good week. We started here on Monday, and yeah, today was a down day, but I mean, we got pretty high, and we, no pun intended, but Dow Jones did really, really well this week, and it bothers me that the sector didn't follow the index. And I mean, more than anything, like S&P 500 also did very well, right? And I know there's not much tech involved, but NASDAQ did well. And when all three are kind of doing that all-time high push, mostly everything should be going up, right? So I'm glad it at least was able to help the stronger ones, right? You can arguably say it helped high tide just a little bit more. This is, I guess, a little bit higher, but nonetheless, I was expecting stronger bounces on Fridays going into Monday, right? And it didn't happen. I'll talk about all that, right? But yeah, these should have done a little bit better. And I think the main thing it makes me start to think about is we now really need some news. We need the rumor fuel on its own is starting to die. The tank was running on this federalization, legalization, reschedulizing, deprioritizing, whatever adjective you want to use. There was some real juice to the fact that Trump was about to do something. And I think the easiest way to see it on Tilray, right? We haven't been over the white 50-day line in too long now. Actually, almost the entirety of this month right now, right? When we look at the rest, yeah, CGC at least did a little bit better. But again, you can see it. What was that hype and like living over the line, we're basically below it, right? And MSOS, yeah, again, not the prettiest, not the worst, but yeah, the volume is the issue here, and we really need just a little bit more oomph to bring it back. All right, so we'll get more of my thoughts going shortly, but before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we gonna do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal, there's one here, there's a couple more, but there are horizontal moving, wow, there are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's get into the technicals. I don't know if I'm going to chapter these, the first 3 and then the last 2 are all together, but I'll figure it out as I go. So I think the first thing I want to start with is, I for sure expected more to happen this week. And I always like to say I'm louder about my mistakes than my good calls. I like it when other people say I do well instead of like me wasting minutes. So I for sure on Friday came in expecting a lot, right? This was the Friday candle. This was the last video I'd made. And what Tilray basically did was it went to a very tough resistance. Normally my lines are white. I'll draw a red one if it's a bad one on the low side. I'll draw them golden if it's a good one on the upside, right? And this was a previous death line. This was a previous horrible line that we obviously dropped as low as down here to the 30s, right? And now we've made our way back up. That was a tough line for sure. I, on Friday, saw us get caught by the 20 moving average and really wanted us to bounce over and reattempt the line. That was my bare bone expectation. When we looked at CGC, basically the exact same thing, just a little bit differently, right? We made a good run to the 200. We came all the way back down, actually down to the 100, and seemingly made a bounce, got over the 20, right? It's only a penny if you're looking in the box over there, $1.46 versus $1.45, but clearly we closed over it right there. I was hoping the 20 moving average would take us up, not down as it did. We literally couldn't get over it any of the last 5 days, right? Horrible. MSOS, exact same story, right? Where were we on Friday? Look, right here, this one, right? Yeah, this one. This one was definitely below the line, but we had a kind of scary line, right? Sorry, scary candle right there. This candle made it look like we were about to die under the death line and lose the 20 moving average, right? Instead, we just get all these dojis that made it seem like, all right, we're going to try to get back over and go, right? A lot of the thought of the bounce was actually driven by high tide because on the same Friday, this one actually basically came to the 20 and bounced on up, right? This one seemed like the 20 was a good line, and it seemed like if this one can do it, the rest should, right? When you looked at SNDL, kind of the same thing actually. This one was even stronger because it wasn't even worried about the 20, it was still on the 8, right? When we're right here, this was just random little red one, not even a big scary one, right? Not like if it was one of these ones on this side, maybe I'd say something right, but that's not even a really bad red candle. That's obviously a doji green candle. I was kind of assuming it was going to go back up. Again, a lot of it driven by this high tide candle, right? That didn't happen. And like I said in the opening thoughts, it bothers me the most that it didn't happen when the Dow Jones took off, right? I made a got high joke. It was pretty good if you didn't see it in the opening thoughts. But yeah, it's just it's if the Dow's gonna go, the rest of the sector should go, and I think that really screams the rumor mill is starting to run dry. And we need something new. We need a Truth Social post. We need one of his cabinet members to do something. Yo, I don't want like a marijuana moment article, right? Because like I need an impartial publication. Politico is starting to get like a little 50-50. I can't really tell if it's important or not actually, but nonetheless, I'd love something from a good non-sector loving source that refuels the juicy rumors, all right? Otherwise, there's some concerns, and I would say there's definitely more concern than these first three than the latter two, right? So yeah, where are we? Yeah, really, I'm just gonna put these all together. Like now that I said all that, because that wasn't bad running together. So let's talk lines, numbers, and all that, right? So as we look at Tilray right now, look, we are for sure physically under both the 8 and the 20. We've been physically under the 8 for quite a while, and it's been a full week trading that we've been under the 20, right? Neither line has confirmed its loss. That's a doji. That's a bad candle. Those are dojis. That's a bad candle. None of these are confirmed. Like one good candle and then dojis, excuse me, that really doesn't count. Now, maybe you can say this doji, this is kind of something, even this on its own isn't that bad a candle. So maybe as a technical, you can say we're just kind of in a cluster of these two. I don't really know. More than anything, I'm not necessarily giving up that we've lost these two lines if we can do something good on Monday. That's really what needs to happen, all right? That's the big line right there. It's 125. 125 gets us top of this, it gets us the bottom of this, and it actually nicely gets us over the 8 and the 20. If you can get over 125, I'm going to start thinking a retest of that 150 right there. All right. I think more than the 125 line, which is an important dollar line, money line, man, it's all about volume here. We really, I'm basically using this right here. We need 80 million shares to trade on Monday. That's the bare bone minimum. It's a little less than double today, so that's not bad, and it should be higher. Yeah, 65 is the white line, right? So I really think we need 8 million shares. It's a little more than 10 million, right? But if we need 80 million shares on Monday's 7-hour trading day, we need about 12 million shares. Give me 24 million in 2 hours. Man, that's basically 50% of today, right? So that would be beautiful to do, right? Give me 12 million shares an hour. I don't even think we'll care about the 125 if that happens, all right? More than anything, give me one more rumor to give me like 130 million shares, 150 million shares, which we've seen over the last couple weeks, a month ago. That's more than plausible, right? Um, let's come back to dollars. I didn't talk about dollars yet. So get over 125, we'll think about 150. If we, oh man, we're basically, so I'm trying to click 50% of this big candle right here. I think it's right about here, really, right? Like we're basically at it. If this goes below 109, it actually could fall as low as 90 cents. 108, 109, it's the same line. You can use 104 if you want. Lose 104 and it'll quick drop to 90. I think that's my tilray thought right there. As we look at CGC, look, there are pros and cons when there's too many moving averages down here, right? What does suck, it's a little hard to get up and escape them. What is good, you shouldn't lose too much because there's a lot of lines here really close and it's going to be hard to like fall that low, right? So that was the case here. Though we didn't do the cool bounce that we were hoping for on Friday going into Monday, we actually didn't lose too much because hey, there were a lot of lines here and we were supported by all that, right? So really the low end is still the same thoughts from last video. If we lose 135, it's going to come down to 128. If we lose 128, that's going to be scary. So maybe the death line ironically is the same 125. I think if we lose 125 here, that's really where the fear comes on CGC. We really need this to get over 150. Can I lower you to here? What happens if I lower you to 146? I like it. Look, it's the top of that. I like that. I'll take that. Get me over 146. I'll call that our money line. I will start to think a retest of the 200 up in the 170s is what I'm thinking of. Look, I like the fact, and I remember saying this on Friday, we wanted it to go up. It re-emphasizes the difficulty of escaping a bunch of moving averages, but hey, your risk to the reward is actually not that bad here, and yeah, you didn't lose too much, right? So no risk, no reward, obviously, but you get what I'm saying. When we look at MSOS, again, I think this one is arguably the most concerning, all right? As we look at the death line, like let's come back to here. That's a good candle, no confirmation. That's a decent candle, no confirmation. That's a good candle. None of these were confirmation, and all of a sudden we're down here. That's a really critical line on MSOS right now, all right? Getting over just like 491 is gonna be really important actually. So getting over 491 is going to be really important. I'm saying that one more time for emphasis, all right? Maybe it's even worth just waiting for 5. I'm basically clicking at 503 right now, but maybe just wait for 5 and then you'll run to 6. As it stands right now, are we below it? Yeah, we're below 50. It seems like this is actually heading to 390. There's actually not that much right now that's going to save it from 390 unless we can get some good rumor mill stuff over the weekend, right? So I think 390 seems more likely. Hopefully that's going to be a good strong line that bounces us up. I'm just trying to see what the 50. You can actually see the 50 is a tough line. We're generally losing that line a good amount. Have we bounced on it before? Man, that 50 is a tough line on this stock. This is kind of the only uptrend moment. We never even really used the 50. All right, let's I'm a little worried we're going to lose the 390 and maybe come to this 370 line. We at least have to assume it's going to be a strong line, but you know what happens with assumptions, right? So keep it in your back pocket that the 50 might not be as strong as it normally is. So I think here is where I'll chapter the numbers for the first three. I then want to talk about SNDL and high tide on their own because again, like I said, I think the technicals do look stronger here, and you know there's pros and cons to that. Really, I'll start with the con. Yo, that's a scary drop right there if we were to lose the 20. I think what's really nice and why this one's on its own chapter is since this July run, we've only used the 20 twice. We used it once right here, and actually it was earnings that brought us back up. So you can arguably say we didn't even really use it here. It was this earnings pop, right? But here, there were some physical candles and a bounce, and then here, there's some physical candles. Is there going to be a bounce is going to be the next question, right? I do want to zoom out and just kind of see. Yeah, I mean, the 20 did some decent things right there. It looks like, right, let me zoom in right here just to see. Yeah, it's not bad. We bounce, we bounce, we bounce, we bounce. We use the 50. We get one more bounce. That wasn't too bad right there. That was also not too bad right there. That was a good. All right. We've seen in recents the 20 not do bad things. So look, I like the fact that we've only used the 20 twice. Once right here and once right here. I like the fact that in recent moments, the 20's been a strong line. It's not like, and I've said it on different tickers before, there are stocks where you'll just lose a moving average like a hot knife through butter, and you're like, what just happened? You're supposed to be a strong moving average, right? So it seems like there is some good strength to that line. Again, the real concern is just that's a scary gap down if we lose it. You lose the 20, you're going to go to the 50, right? So I would very much use 233 as my oh no line. What's this 222 line? That's kind of an important line, it looks like. I'm going to keep that line there. Keep 233 in your back pocket. Don't lose 233, and I think things will be fine here. Really, this thing needs to, it's a little higher than I want it to be. I see the bottom of this is basically what we wick today. That's kind of funny. I don't really want to use. Look. This is the educated thing to say is 250-ish. Wait for 255 is actually where I'm clicking. Break 255 and there's a lot to love on SNDL. I think my next line up is almost at 3. Yeah, it's at 290 right there, right? So don't lose 230. Get over 250, 251, 252, 253, whatever your risk reward tolerance is, and then we'll start thinking threes from there, all right? If we were to lose that 330, you can see my 220 line is right here. Under the 220 is definitely where 190 is becomes the thought, all right? Let's wind it out with high tide. Hey, real quick, I'm gonna get an interview with Raj. I can't believe the guy actually did say yes. So appreciate the people that helped. It's gonna be nothing technical at all. I will find a means to get questions from people. We'll all vote on it, and hopefully it'll be a good use of everyone's time. But yeah, that's actually for real confirmed. So but talking about the and hey, I'm for sure gonna still stay impartial on this thing, right? Like it is wildly cool that that's happening, but that's still my thing, right? They're all four letter tickers or whatnot, right? But a lot of the same thoughts that I just said on SNDL really do apply on this chart right here, okay? I was talking about from July till now, but look, the stock basically takes off in August. And from August till today, we've only used the 20 moving average once, and it was yesterday, right? So that's a good, really strong moving average, right? I often talk about the game Don't Break the Ice or Jenga, either one. You can only attack a little area so many times before what was a good, strong place starts to break, right? So, like a moving average, if you use it too many times, it's not a good thing. But if you can let it gain some strength and then only use it once, oh, that's a beautiful thing, right? I'll show the SNDL one just in case. This was nice because from all the way here, we only used it once right there. We gave it a little bit more time to gain some more strength. Hopefully we can use it well right there, right? So in a lot of ways, the high tide moment looks like this little early moment right here, where it's the first bounce after a good little uptrend, right? So with high tide, I think the easy thing to say is probably this right here. Yeah, I think that's about 50%. As long as you don't lose, you can even maybe use this. No, that's basically where we're at. Cool, I like this one. As long as you don't lose 325, let's call it 325, you're going to be good to go. All right, if you lose 325, you'll probably drop to this 310 that we see right here. What we're really looking for, all right, that's basically the doji we're at. I think we'll just use this. We wicked it today, so it at least did try. This thing just needs to get over for 350. I'm not going to draw the line because I don't think we do need to draw the line. Where's 350 comparatively? Is it the top of this? That's only 345. Oh, and that's basically where we're at today. Yeah, no, I don't need to draw any new lines. Look, but one more time, you get over that 350, I will be thinking basically for 396 right here, right? It is all about the upcoming earnings. Again, earnings don't care about technicals. If the market likes the earnings, good things will happen. If the market doesn't, bad things will happen, right? I think the real cool thing is since the last one, it did well, right? And I remember, and again, it's obviously opinions, and generally it's opinions from people that are long, because not too many people are flipping this one, right? There's a lot of long people on this one. It feels like the longs liked the bad earning moments, because really, even though we see earnings and then drop, earnings and then drop, most people still liked what was being said. It was just waiting for the market to figure it out, right? So yeah, and then I think the last thing I'll say, just because again I've been following it, it's solid that more people are covering this stock. You need volume, right? And it wasn't that long ago, right? It really wasn't that long ago. We were barely getting 50,000. I remember the I clicked on a higher number, but like this one's 100K, right? Like we were barely in that 50 100K. Then all of a sudden we started coming up to that 200ish K, right? We obviously saw some crazier volumes, but we've pretty much been living at like 400,000 shares. That's not bad at all for daily volume. It really isn't. So more analysts should hopefully help volume. Volume generally helps price, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so much.